Good evening, welcome to the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Bowali Akimbode. First, the headlines. Shatima reaffirms government's commitment to protect press freedom. Makinde's man, Fryo wins Osun PDP Guba primaries. Doctors in England to go on 5-day strike in run-up to Christmas. US envoy Wiktorf and Kushner arrive in Moscow to meet Putin on ending war in Ukraine. NFF sets semi-final target for Chel. Now the details. Vice President Kashim Shettima says President Bola Tinubu's administration respects and will continue to protect the right to freedom of expression, stressing that press freedom remains a non-negotiable pillar of the country's democracy. Shettima made the declaration today at the 2025 Annual Conference and General Meeting of the International Press Institute Nigeria in Abuja, where he insisted that no administration could successfully repress the Nigerian media. The Vice President noted that journalists must operate without harassment or intimidation, adding that the government bears the duty to create an environment where truth thrives and where media work is protected rather than policed. Shettima, who chaired the event, argued that the country's biggest threat was not mainstream journalism, but anarchists on social media, describing the tension between government and the press as a cat-and-mouse relationship, maintaining that they remain stronger as partners than adversaries, commending Nigerian journalists for resisting disinformation and refusing to be used as tools of propaganda. The Oyo State government has announced a radical overhaul of its compensation framework for land and properties, which falls with the corridors of the Senator Rashidi Circular Road, with a new system designed to ensure 100% accuracy and transparency. The executive advisor to the governor on New Towns and Cities Development Authority, Mrs. Mofoluke Adebiyi, disclosed today that a platform is being established where every affected citizen must personally agree to the payment before any compensation is released. Agidigbo FM's news correspondent Oluwapemi Bamidele was at the press briefing. Here are the details.
The National Association of Public Affairs Analysts, pressmen, all converged at the Governor's Office press briefing room to be informed by the Executive Advisor to the Oyo State Governor, Engineer Oluseyi Abiodun Makinde, on New Towns and Cities Development Authority, Mrs. Mofoluke Adebiyi, on the importance on the 110 Senator Rashidi Adewolu Ladoja Circular Road and the associated corridor, which aims to further improve the development of Oyo State. In her address, Mrs. Adebiyi noted that for easy mobility, parallel road, adequate infrastructure, and to create room for future expansion, that the corridor, which measured up to 500 meters left and right for less cluster developed part of the circular road, will now be 150 meters left and right for cluster developed part of the road to give room for future development. All are addressing a major historical challenge, which is the proliferation of fake land documents. Mrs. Adebiyi acknowledged that the foul play emanated from all sides and could not be traced to a single agency. Noted that the Oyo State New Towns and Cities Development have now set up a strategy to fully automate the documentation of all properties.
In places where we have clusters of development, the corridor has been reduced to 150 meters on both sides. That is 150 either way. 150 on the left side of the median and 150 on the right side of the median, making 300 meters. And that's to ensure that the structures that will be affected is reduced to the barest minimum.
All speaking on the development of the corridor, the executive advisor noted that the corridors are directly linked to the state's border economic aspiration and confirmed that Oyo State has successfully established a free trade zone, which is designed to attract both local and foreign investors by ensuring a genuine ease of doing business.
Believing that even some of the processes that Oyo State new towns and cities will put in place will ensure that we have investors coming to enjoy the free zone opportunity.
The event had in attendance the Special Advisor to the Governor on Media, Dr. Sulaiman Olarewaju, seasoned public affairs analyst, including Pastor Segun Ogungbaye, Comrade Femi Babalola, and Comrade Omololu Ejidiran, Oluwapemi Bamidele. Agidigbo FM News.
The day 2 of the Agidigbo Children Fun Fair was opened in a lively and colorful atmosphere as children trooped in with excitement to enjoy another round of fun-filled activities. The atmosphere was lively, filled with music, laughter, and playful movement. Kids enjoyed games, bouncing castle, and making unforgettable holiday memories. Parents were thrilled, with one expressing excitement over the gifts given to the children. Another parent prayed for Dr. Oriyomi Hamzat, Agidigbo FM chairman, appreciating his effort in making the event joyful. And as the day ended, children left with happy faces and sweet memories. Looking forward to more fun as the event continues.
Thank you, Agidigbo.
In a bid to embrace peace and dialogue, the Akinyele Cow Dealers Association in the Oyo State today staged a peaceful protest at the Secretariat in Ibadan. According to the cow dealers of Akinyele, the peace protest is coming after the alleged assault on one of their members, identified as Ibrahim by Fulani cow dealers. Agidigbo FM News correspondent Abiodun Oloyede and Azan Habib were at the scene. Here is the report.
The Akinyele Cow Dealers Association in Oyo State earlier today staged a peaceful protest at the State Secretariat, Ibadan, over what they described as the assault and intimidation of one of their members, identified as Ibrahim, allegedly by Fulani cow dealers. The protesters, who came out in large numbers, expressed frustration over what they called continuous intimidation and unfair treatment from their Fulani counterparts. Speaking with Agidigbo FM News, the mother of the victim, Mrs. Manshura Adebisi, narrated how the incident occurred. She also appealed to the Commissioner of Police to intervene and ensure the safe return of her son.
The issue happened and made it clear that my son, Ibrahim, was not at fault. But Fulani people only want to cheat us of our right, and I'm using this opportunity to tell the Commissioner of Police to help me look out of my son Ibrahim in the Fulani custody.
In another interview with Agidigbo FM News, Mr. Olaniyi Ademola said the actions of the Fulani cow dealers were deliberate attempts to intimidate the Akinyele traders.
The action of the Fulani cow dealers are just trying to intimidate the Akinyele cow dealers, and our member who was in their custody is seeking the involvement of the Royal Highness Oba Adewolu Ladoja to help us out in this issue.
Also speaking, Mr. Tokwe Biliamino alleged that some unidentified police officers were being used to harass members of the Akinyele Cow Dealers Association.
The action of the Fulani cow dealers are just trying to intimidate the Akinyele cow dealers, and our member who was in their custody is seeking the involvement of the Royal Highness Oba Adewolu Ladoja to help us out in this issue.
In another interview, Mr. Olalekan Akibu emphasized that the Yoruba cow dealers in Akinyele are not seeking conflict with anyone, but the intimidation has become too much. I pleaded that we Yoruba cow dealers in Akinyele don't want any issue with the Fulani cow dealers because they are doing too much, and that is why we urge the governor of Oyo State, Engineer Seyi Makinde, to please find a solution to this issue. In the end, the protesters said their intention is to maintain peace and harmony, noting that the present administration also stands for peace. The Akinyele cow dealers urged Governor Makinde and His Imperial Majesty Oba Adewolu Ladoja, to intervene to prevent further breakdown of order. Abiodun Oloyede, Agidigbo FM News.
Adebayo Olugbenga Adedamola, better known as Frayo, as a match candidate of the People's Democratic Party for the Osun 2026 governorship election. The primary held in Osogbo today was under tight security presence, which according to the poll official who announced results, Adebayo polled 919 votes out of the valid 957 accredited. However, despite announcing his resignation from the party, the name of the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke appeared on the ballot paper for the PDP governorship primaries. And now it is time to link up with our United Kingdom studio for the foreign news.
News from Kunyamza Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damlola. The British Medical Association, BMA, has confirmed that doctors in England will go ahead with the strike in the run-up to Christmas. Resident doctor will walk out from 7 a.m. on 17th of December until 7 a.m. on 22nd of December. The latest strike has been blamed on the continuing failure of the government to make a credible offer on jobs, although Health Secretary Wes Streeton has condemned the move. He stated further that British Medical Association has clearly chosen to strike when it will cause maximum disruption and untold anxiety. However, Mr. Dayton, the NHS Acute and Community Care Director, said the walkout could lead to thousands of council appointments and operations. The United Kingdom and the United States have agreed a deal to keep tariffs on UK pharmaceutical shipment into America at 0%. Under the agreement, the UK will pay more for medicine through the NHS in return for a guarantee that US import taxes on pharmaceutical made in the UK will remain at zero for 3 years. This is the first time the amount NHS pay for medicine is due to increase in more than 20 years. The day comes after President Donald Trump threatened to raise tariffs to as high as 100% on branded drug imports, which is one of the UK's biggest exports to the US. And that ends the news. Kunyamza Studio at Gidigbo FM, United Kingdom. I am Olushola Damlola.
We shall also be moving to our Maryland studio, United States, for more foreign news.
News from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosi Sonya. U.S. President Donald Trump's special envoy Steve Witkoff and son-in-law Jared Kushner were due to meet Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday for talks on a possible way to end the war in Ukraine. Trump has said he wants to end Europe's deadliest conflict since World War II, but his efforts so far, including a summit with Putin in Alaska in August and meetings with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, have not yet brought peace. A leaked set of 28 U.S. draft peace proposals emerged last week, worrying Ukrainian and European officials who said it bowed to Moscow's main demands on NATO, Moscow's control of a fifth of Ukraine, and restrictions on Ukraine's army. European powers then gave their counter-proposal for peace at talks in Geneva. The United States and Ukraine said they had created an updated and a refined peace framework to end the war. Nigeria has offered Guinea-Bissau's opposition presidential candidate Fernando Diaz protection at its embassy in the capital, Bissau, following a military coup, according to the Nigerian Foreign Ministry. The offer came as leaders from the Economic Community of West African State Regional Bloc, led by Sierra Leone President Julius Maada Bio, tried to persuade the military officers who seized power in Guinea-Bissau last week to stand down. And that ends the news from Kule Amzat Studio at Gidigbo FM, United States. I am Oluwatosi Soya.
Welcome back. Now in the exciting world of sport. The Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has set a semi-final target for Super Eagles head coach Eric Chell ahead of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Chell met with the Nigerian Football Federation Technical Committee in Abuja on Monday, where a realistic target was set for the team. The Franco-Malian tactician has also been mandated to inject fresh blood to the team following the Super Eagles' failure to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup that will be taking place in United States, Mexico and Canada. Meanwhile, Super Eagles coach Eric Chow announces his Africa Cup of Nations preliminary squad as he picked captain William Ekong, ace forward Victor Osimhen, midfielder Wilfredo Ndidi and goalkeeper Stanley Nwabali in a provisional list of 55 players for the upcoming 35th Africa Cup of Nations finals in Morocco and others. A final list of 28 players will be drawn from the provisional list in a matter of days, as the Super Eagles are scheduled to arrive at the training camp in Egypt on Wednesday, 10th of November 2025, and the team is also expected to play a couple of friendly matches before the tournament begins on Sunday, 21st of December 2025. To wrap up the news this evening, here is a recap of the headlines. Vice President Shettima reaffirms government's commitment to protect press freedom. Makinde's man Frayo wins Osun PDP Guba primaries. Doctors in England to go on 5-day strike in run-up to Christmas. United States envoy Witkoff and Kushner arrive in Moscow to meet Putin on ending war in Ukraine. NFF sets semi-final target for Chow. And before we go this evening, here is a quick tape. To say nothing is saying something. You must denounce things that are against, or one might believe that you support things you really do not. Akojopo FM says, Happy New Month. Finally, we have come to the end of the news around the world on the most listened to radio station, Agidigbo 88.7 FM, Ibadan. I am Bowali Akimbode. Thank you for listening. Good evening.
News is information, and information is power. At Agidigbo 88.7 FM, we bring the news from top to bottom.
The Oyo State government has said the over 1.5 million out of school children.
We give you reports from Oyo State,
The Oyo State House of Assembly has called for thorough investigation.
the Southwest in Nigeria, and the rest of the world.
Has clarified that the body did not receive any cash support from international development.
Trust us to keep you informed every hour, every day.
Agidigbo 88.7 FM, the people's voice. Agidigbo.